Welcome back, viewers. We were just finishing off with Mr. Jamie. There's last two questions I want to ask, and then we're going to come back on to Alan. We were talking about the stock markets and what sort of companies you actually invest in. How do you get all the information? So that was one of the questions that we were going to ask.
Well, I mean, it's all about the companies and whatever company you invest in. Yes, you have to get all the information. You can get it from a company, and there are different websites, and even on the market for the broker side, you can get all the information. Okay. I mean, in my case, after my engineering degree, I did research for a good few years for European Physical Science Research Council, and I used to do research with metals and materials.
Okay.
So basically, I was looking in the future. While I was doing my research, I was thinking, okay, this sort of thing, metals and materials, what do we do? Or is it good to invest in this sector for the future reference? Okay. Then I found out, yes, obviously, like, I mean, say, for example, nowadays, yes, population is growing. That's one example. So everybody needs their own property and everything.
Yeah, okay.
And to make high-rise buildings, they obviously need metals.
Metals, yeah.
So that's how
I invest in metals and,
yes.
and that sort of sector mainly.
Yes.
Okay. There's one magic question. Can we have a hint of your holdings at this moment? How much you have now?
How much do I have? I think, I mean, nowadays, what I believe that Switzerland is still the best place for banking.
Switzerland is the best place for banking,
yes. Okay. And the holdings, I can't really, I mean, disclose about my holdings. All I can say is Switzerland is best place for banking.
I want to hear something in pounds and figures.
You want something in pounds and figures? The only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, as God knows best. Because I do have, yes, enough today. If anybody points a gun on my head and said, okay, give me everything, I will give everything. But whatever in my brain, my education, nobody can take it.
That's your biggest wealth?
That's my biggest wealth.
Okay, no problem. But we do know, obviously, you started from £100 and it's gone into the multi-million pounds now. So we've got a bit of a hint there already, but that's okay. I'll leave that bit to you not to disclose. No problem. We're going to go on to Alan. Alan, welcome on the show.
Thank you.
And viewers, Alan has developed trading systems and tools to help people trade the financial markets, especially people who don't know where to start from. That's where Alan comes in. He helps people. So Alan, the first question is, you might decide to buy some bank shares today and sell them next week for a profit. Is that right? Is that what you do?
Well, that's the process, isn't it? I mean, the process is that we look for an asset that can depreciate and we can make money from it. The difference between trading and investing, as I see it, is the fact that it's the speed and how rapid you can turn that over. We were talking before we were listening, before your key was education. His education, the greatest value you said you had, was your education, Jahir, which is I suppose which validates what I do for a living, which is provide a template. Now I don't trade in stocks and shares. I must admit I did start in that marketplace. I focused on currencies because there's less of them. It's easier to focus on, and they tend to trend for a very long time. If you look at the euro, trended pretty much up against the US dollar for many, many years, and now it's trending all the way down. So we get I think a more smoother ride, if you like, which allows people to develop their skills. Most people who enter trading have a few issues. One is they don't really understand the market, they don't really understand the risk, and also they don't understand where the return comes from. Now, I believe that return comes from two things, and you know, it's standard, statistical. It's the rate that you receive for your investment, the money that you invest, and the time that that money is put aside. So one of the ways you can actually speed up the amount of money that you're going to make from your investments, your trading, is to have more money, which isn't necessarily something that everyone's going to have the freedom to do. But they do have the ability to start with a small amount. But what they can do is trade a little bit faster and turn their money over. So
Exactly.
1% every week is going to make a lot of money, whereas 1% or 2% every 3 or 4 months is not going to compound as quickly.
Yeah.
So the trick to it is how does someone start off with very little knowledge and work out how to fast track their trading so they can start with a small amount of money and they can scale it up in a way that remains less risky than going in it, I suppose, just blasting away with not really knowing what they're doing.
Can someone learn to trade while they are busy in a job or running a business, you know?
A lot of my customers are people that have got a job or a business, they're very successful. They've got a lot of time invested in what they're doing, but they want to make change. They want to improve their life, they want to spend more time with their family, they want to be more flexible, they don't want to commute anymore. Potentially they don't want to work for the man, they want to work for themselves. So what they do is they dedicate and invest small amounts of their time, firstly, to learn skills that over time they can scale, and then it can start buying back that freedom that they want from the job. And I think that if you look at, let's not be naive here, if somebody wants to start and replace their, you know, their income or their job, there has to be an investment, and there has to be some effort, and there has to be some discipline and some patience, and anything else will give you probably the wrong result. So what I advocate is that people look at education. The sole guys, the building blocks, the fundamentals of education is that there's a framework you've got to follow. You can learn about the technology. We were discussing before just how rapidly technology's changed. People need to be aware of the trading platform.
That's true.
What is it you actually, well, do you trade for people or?
No, not at all. No, we focus on education and training, and then obviously at the beginning, someone needs a guide, someone to train, take them through the process, learning, almost testing them on their own knowledge so that they've got some feedback, which is really important in the education process. Then what we need to do is, as they get to the next level, what we need to do is, we need a mentor, somebody that can deal with them with different issues, not just the issues of, is this going up, is it going down, am I in a trade, am I, you know, do I know what I'm doing? The issues of grounding themselves mentally and building a strong mental mindset so they can continue to do this and scale this business up over time. So it isn't a sprint. There is no destination. It is a journey, and that journey is going to take, and the longer it takes, the more money effectively we'll make. So running off a sprint and running out of steam, losing your money.
Sounds complicated.
Is it complicated? Great question. But no, look, I believe that you can learn. Look at the number of people who go to university in this country right now. I mean, the government almost funds them to go to university so they get a better job. Yeah, so they're buying into the whole education isn't expensive, ignorance is. And Klaus Moser, who's a British statistician, that's one of his most famous sayings. And I kind of buy into that. Imagine this like an education program, like a degree in financial freedom, where you start your first year, and in your first year, you're not expected to go out and change the world in your first year of university. You really understand, you've got to learn what it is, how it works, and in trading, probably timing is the key, is when to trade and when not to trade.
Yes, and patience is another thing.
Patience and discipline comes in the longer you've been in it. The other thing is that having no position in the market and sitting waiting is as important as being in the market at the right time.
Okay.
So one of the things I teach, the core strategy I teaches people to sit on the sidelines for longer, because what it develops for them is an understanding of risk. They get to focus on what they want and wait till it happens. So as we were talking before, Jahir is obviously using fundamental analysis on the metals. That's kind of what I got from the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. So what we use is technical analysis. So when the big guys start buying metals because they need copper piping and copper wire for all of those buildings to run the power through, therefore the price of copper should go up. So that's fundamental. But until big companies and big organizations start buying copper en masse, they won't drive the price up. So a smart decision is not to actually know the fundamentals, but to understand the technicals, which is wait till it starts moving and then ride that train.
Exactly.
And that is another way of approaching trading.
Okay.
So it's like different styles.
What kind of people in your opinion becomes traders?
Do you know, it's different races, creeds, different people of different ages, different sexes. But I think the key is it's people who want to make change in their life. I think it's people that want to buy back their freedom, their life, their lifestyle, and are looking at something where they control. And if you look at a lot of businesses, there's a lot of capital investment in many businesses. If you want to open a pizza shop, if you want to open a Subway franchise, one of the most successful franchises out there, you're talking 80 grand just to buy the rights to put that name on your door. Then you've got to go and fit the shop out. That's a lot of money before you've sold one sandwich. Yeah. So if you look at it from that perspective, a lot of businesses, people have to put a lot of investment in. Some people want a business, they want to start a business, they haven't got 80,000, and they can't risk throwing out what they've got, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So what they tend to do is to say, I'm going to put one toe in the water first and start with a very, very small amount and commit myself on a course of a learning curve, and life is just a series of learning curves, but specifically a learning curve about the technical markets, the technology, the risk, money management, and there's a great sign over there that says profit, risk and loss. And they're both two sides of the same coin. If someone commits funds to the marketplace, if they commit, say, £1,000 in the marketplace, they're not committing £1,000. That is just they may be risking £50, and that's what I believe. That it's the risk that you take.
You make it sound really simple, though, as I said, but you also, it's not as easy, is it, really? Let's go to the chase. I'm dying to ask this question. Is it really risky?
Is it risky? Okay. Can I answer that in two parts? Is that right?
Go on.
Okay, two parts.
We've got 3 minutes to break.
Okay, right. I'll answer it very quickly in two parts then. The first part, if you go into the market uneducated, unknowledgeable, no experience, and you do things that are high risk, you take a larger position than you can afford, then yeah, there is risk. If you go into anything with the knowledge, with focus, energy and attention to the details, you've learned about them, and you actually know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you're controlling your risk at all the times, knowing that your reward is far greater, then obviously you can mitigate that risk to the point that the risk is worth it based on the reward. And I think that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Was that part 1 or part 2 done?
I think that was both.
That's all right.
You put me under time pressure there. Sorry about that.
No, I think we're going to go into break in just a few, a minute or so. I hear that at times people can lose a lot of all their money. But however, people can make a lot of money.
Look, I think you have to address things like stock market crashes and things like that. But I think also what you have to look at is that after every crash, after every downturn, the market has always risen higher than it actually has, and it's then increased its value. So it tends to be people who are over-speculating, or I believe the last person in, turn the lights out approach, where when the markets start getting very, very hot and rise, everyone starts getting excited. The big traders, the ones who've been around, the ones who have experience, were buying down here a long time ago when their prices were cheap, and are now looking at closing those trades out. The new people who are getting excited, buying into the whole stock market ethos, always seem to get in at the wrong part of the cycle.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes, of course.
And I think that is half the battle with people who lose their money. Plus then what they do is they don't look at where the problem, they try and externalize it, and they blame the market, the broker, and many other things.
We're just going to go to the break now, and I'm going to actually continue from there.
Yeah, fantastic.
Viewers, we're going to a break now, so see you after the break.